Welcome to Earth Archives. Continuing with who is the richest country in the world in 2024, this episode will reveal from 5th to 1 Street. Before the show starts, please subscribe, like, and turn on the little bell. If possible, leave your thoughts. This will help the growth of the show. Without further ado, let's officially start. So, you want to know how to tell if a country is rolling in dough or counting pennies? There are two main ways to crack that nut. First off, you can look at something called GDP, which stands for Gross Domestic Product. Imagine putting a price tag on every single thing a country makes or does, from the sneakers it exports to the haircuts given at the local barber. That's your GDP. It's like the country's yearly income report. Now, to figure out if that wealth is more like a fat stack of cash or just pocket change per person, you take that big ol' GDP number and divide it by the number of folks living in the country. This gives you what's known as GDP per capita, literally, how much each person would get if you spread that wealth equally. It's a handy-dandy shortcut to know if people in a country are living large on average or just scraping by. The second way is a bit like checking the price tag on life there. You look at how much stuff costs, from a loaf of bread to a night at the movies, and factor in how prices have gone up over time. That's inflation for you. This helps paint a picture of how far your money can actually go in that country. Combine these two methods, and voila, you've got a pretty clear snapshot of whether a country is living it up or just getting by. 5. Qatar. Continent Asia. GDP PPP per capita, 112,280. Let's talk about Qatar, a nation that might be small on the map but is mighty in stature, thanks to its massive reserves of oil, gas, and those complex things called petrochemicals. With just 3 million souls calling it home, Qatar is like that swanky new kid on the block who's got panache. It's a place that's redefining the book on architecture with structures that'll have you whipping out your camera faster than you can say, wowza. This tiny titan of the Middle East isn't just about majestic skyscrapers. It's also a haven for those who like the finer things in life, like splurging in opulent shopping havens and indulging in sumptuous dining spots that make your taste buds feel like royals. Now, here's something that might surprise you. Merely 13% of the people in Qatar are actual Qataris. The rest are folks from around the globe, contributing their mite to this desert wonderland. But hold on to your hats, because when the tough times rolled in with the global health crisis, it sent a shockwave through the land. Many migrant workers packed up and headed home, leaving a silence that echoed through the city streets. The double whammy of the private sector catching a cold and the energy market prices taking a nosedive had everyone biting nails over the country's fate. But Qatar, it didn't just roll over and play dead. No sir, it stood tall, brushed off the dust, and is now strutting its stuff with a cool comeback, clocking in around a 2% growth in 2024. In the midst of the global economy doing somersaults, Qatar's like that comeback kid with grit in the eye, proving once again that it's not just the size of the nation in the fight, but the size of the fight in the nation. 4. Singapore. Continent Asia. GDP, PPP per capita 133,740. Alright, let's take a little trip to Singapore, an island city-state that's got a story to tell. Picture this, the year is 1965, and they've just waved goodbye to being a part of Malaysia to strike out on their own. But here's the kicker, half the folks can't even read. Fast forward to today, and they're schooling the world in getting rich, thanks to some savvy thinking and elbow grease that had put superheroes to shame. Now, Singapore is like that high flyer in class who nails every test. This little powerhouse has rolled out the red carpet for business bigwigs and entrepreneurs, earning top marks as one of the globe's most business-friendly hotspots. But wait, there's more. The Lion City isn't just a magnet for sharp minds and innovation. It's also where the wallets are fatter than a double-stuffed wallet sandwich. You've got your high rollers, your diamond-dripping tycoons, and guess who's leading the pack? An American chap who helped get Facebook off the ground. Yep, he's the big kahuna around these parts, having traded the Silicon Valley scene for a little slice of Singaporean paradise. And why do all these well-heeled whizzes pick Singapore as their playground? 2 words, fiscal heaven. We're talking tax-free dividends that have millionaires and billionaires skipping merrily to the bank. It's like a swanky club where the rich get richer, and everyone's toasting to their stellar bank statements. 3. Ireland. Continent Europe. GDP, PPP per capita 133,900. Let's talk about a little place called Ireland. It's a spot that's home to 5.3 million folks who, not too long ago, rode the world's financial rollercoaster. Remember the scream-inducing dip of the 2008-2009 financial crisis? Yeah, Ireland felt that in their bones. As money belts tightened, Ireland's government had to play the not-so-fun game of slashing paychecks for the public sector workers. Talk about a household budget headache, right? There was a whole lot of scrambling to piece back together a banking industry that looked like someone's jigsaw puzzle that a toddler got a hold of. But here's the plot twist. Ireland didn't just curl up in a ball. They rolled up their sleeves, dusted themselves off, and went to work. By putting more folks back on the job and giving their employment rate a jolt of energy, they kicked their GDP back into gear like a motorbike on a sunny day. Now, here's the sticky bit. On Ireland, there's this pretty wide river between the haves and the have-nots. Get this, 20% at the top are raking in the dough, like 5 times more than what the folks at the bottom of the ladder have in their piggy banks. It's like one side's throwing a feast, while the other's figuring out how to make a loaf of bread last the week. Quite the pickle they've got there. And it's something that'd make you stop and think, huh? 2. Macao SAR. Continent Asia. GDP, PPP per capita 134,140. Let's take a quick hop over to the bustling neon lights of Macao SAR, that stands for Macao Special Administrative Region, a pint-sized powerhouse snuggled up next to Hong Kong. Back in 1999, it cozied up to become a prized gem in the People's Republic of China's crown. Picture this. It's the Las Vegas of Asia. Yep, you heard that right. A dazzling paradise for those looking to try their luck or just soak up the glitzy vibes. In this pocket-sized hotspot of roughly 700,000 souls, slot machines chime and dice roll in over 40 casinos sprinkled across the region. Imagine this, 30 square kilometers of Macao's turf is practically paved with the stuff of high rollers' dreams. But then, out of the blue, COVID-19 crashed the party. Suddenly, global gallivanting screeched to a halt, and those cash-cranking casinos. They had to shut their glittering doors, flipping from money magnets to money pits seemingly overnight. Despite the rollercoaster, Macao's not exactly down on its luck. Back in 2019, folks here was sitting pretty with a per capita income of $125,000. Fast forward to today, and, according to the wizards at the International Monetary Fund, that number's jumped up to a cool $134,140 United States dollars. So, it seems, even amidst pandemic pandemonium, Macao's still holding its own in the big game. 1. Luxembourg. Continent Europe. GDP PPP per capita in $143,740 United States dollars. Imagine a quaint little European gem, tucked away like a fairy tale between rolling green hills sprinkled with majestic castles. That's Luxembourg for you. It's like a picture postcard come to life, with cultural festivals that would make your Instagram a feast for the eyes. Luxembourg's not just a pretty face, though. Nestled in the good old heart of Europe, it's home to a cozy bunch of 670,000 people who've got the good life sorted. They've got it all there: swanky homes, tip-top healthcare, and schools that make you wish you were a kid again. The folks in Luxembourg live the high life, and let me tell you, they're a few notches above the average Eurozone standard. But wait, let's talk about how they handled a global curveball, the pandemic. Luxembourg crushed it in the game of keep your country running smoothly, compared to its European neighbors. In 2020, sure, their growth rate took a tiny step back at -0.9%, but talk about a comeback kid. In 2021, they're set to shoot up by a whopping 7%. And Luxembourg, well, he's strutting at the top of the world's rich list, with a GDP that's a jaw-dropping $3,740 United States dollars. Simply put, this place is living proof that great things come in small packages.